3.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Pathfinder for Autism Zoomcast. I'm your host, Rob Long, and joining me today is Tom Whalen. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Rob?
I can't complain, man. Glad to have you. Glad to be able to finally sit down and talk to you. Now, from my understanding, you are the co-trainer for Pathfinder for Autism Hospital Training. Can you explain exactly what that job entails?
Yeah, I go from hospital to hospital, mostly downtown Baltimore, doing training sessions with Trish Kane and Neil Lichter on how to safely interact with people and with autism in a medical environment.
Now, how important is your job? Because, I mean, we find out more and more people, on the spectrum. How important is your job to the hospitals?
Not to toot my own horn, I consider my job to be vital. Because my theory here is if you can't calm down somebody with autism, or at least get to their level, so to speak, then you might have a crisis situation or meltdown, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, I'm sure the hospitals are very thankful that you are there to help them understand and be able to communicate with people on the spectrum. How old were you when you were diagnosed with autism?
I was 7 years old when I was first diagnosed.
7 years old, okay.
Yes.
All right, what do you understand about your diagnosis?
What do I understand about my diagnosis? The way it impacts me is obviously it's going to be different from the next person you talk to about this, but for me, it's just I may think or act differently than people my own age. I can be socially awkward, and even though I may not show through on the job, I can be socially awkward, and sometimes I need to take a step back and go, wait a minute, do I really want to say this? Do I really want to do this? And a lot of impulsivity.
Tom, I think that's very mature of you to understand when you need to take a step back, to have that kind of self-awareness. When do you think you established that kind of self-awareness, knowing when you need to take a step back? When did that happen in your life?
When does it happen?
Yeah, I mean, no. When did you discover that you definitely need to take a step back, develop that kind of self-awareness?
On a daily basis.
Okay.
Now, there have been instances before where I've been like, oh crap, I really shouldn't have said that, or I really shouldn't have done that. But I think that's also part of humanity, being human. Like, we all make mistakes. It's not just Tom Whalen, the guy with autism, screwed up,
Now, what's the difference between Tom Whalen, the kid with autism, and Tom Whalen, the man with autism? What's changed?
What's changed? I've been a lot more, throughout my formative years, growing up, I was like, part of the, maybe a little bit of with the in crowd of like, well, maybe we should not make fun of this sort of different, but, I wanted to be popular. But now it's like, I am what I am. I don't really care anymore.
Right.
If I'm helping people and people hate me for it, that's on them.
Now, Tom, I hear rumor has it that you are a fan of comedy. Is this comedy movies, stand-up comedy, or you like to do your own stand-up? Tell me about the comedy.
Can it be all three? Yeah, absolutely. Favorite comedy movie? That's a tough one. I really enjoy the Monty Python movies.
Oh yeah.
And for me, it's situational. For me, as doing comedy, it's a situational thing. It's like I think of situations that have happened to me, and some of it does have to do with autism or my medical history. And go, okay, how can I make this funny and relatable?
Does that help you cope? Thinking it's funny and relatable, does that help you cope with things a little bit
Oh
better?
yeah. I mean, even if the other people don't get it, just as a way of me being able to like get it off my chest, it's like, thank God that's over.
Now you say Monty Python. Have you seen the movies Open, The Holy Grail?
Yes.
Yes, that's my favorite Monty Python movie. What about you?
Man after my own heart, Rob.
I love Holy Grail, man. I think I watched it about 10 times. Seriously.
It's such a great film.
It is. Tom, over the years, how have you become, I think I know the answer to this, just listening to you, but I love to hear it in your words. How have you become stronger?
How have I become stronger?
Yes.
I have to get credit where it's due. I can't do this alone.
Right.
It's just doing, little things here and there that start to like build up and add up. And it's making connections along the way that's really helped me in the long run. If it weren't for, and I blame a little bit of on being a little outspoken on the topic. Like if it weren't for my being outspoken, I never would have found Pathfinder, never would have gotten my job with PFA as a co-trainer, and I never would have been here being interviewed by Rob Long.
Now, I guess you've learned a lot and you've seen a lot. So what advice do you have for parents with children on the spectrum?
My advice would be, and I just touched on this a second ago, it's make connections, whether that be group therapy or social groups or whatever. It doesn't just, I'm speaking from my own experience here, it doesn't just help, it doesn't just help the people who are impacted by autism directly. It can also help their parents, caretakers, whatever. Because at least there's people who are like-minded. Like, I know for me and my parents, it's like, okay, we're not the only ones going through this. Just get involved with programs.
And I completely agree with you that as a dad with a son on the spectrum, I agree with you. Just get involved in programs, not only for them, but for you as well. What has Pathfinders for Autism meant for Tom Whalen, or to Tom Whalen?
What has Pathfinders meant for me?
Yes.
Pathfinders has meant more than I can ever. Sorry, my dog's in the. It's more than I can ever say. My job with Pathfinders is. It's not just a job. To me, it's like. Much like going back to the comedy thing, it's a hobby. It's something I do for fun, but just also happen to be paid to do.
Right.
The Pathfinder's job, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I legitimately enjoy what I do, educating people.
Well, I'll give you a bit of advice, Tom. You got Pathfinders people on the call, so never tell them you don't do it for the money. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Tom, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with me. It was great finally getting to know you. I've met you before, but finally great getting to know you. And I hope you continue to be a beacon of light to hospitals and training people on how to, as you say, how to communicate and deal with people on the spectrum. Your job is so very valuable. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And maybe deal with isn't really the right wording, but I think we all know what we're trying to say here.